We changed, adjusted the agenda for today. You can see it on projected over here. What we
Very
have
tiny,
changed-
Adam.
What's that?
Very tiny.
A tiny agenda.
No, I mean,
No.
you can't see it.
Makes you come closer. It's all part of it. So,
Whole stack of paper.
Way to go.
exactly. So the other thing, just wanted to let folks know that we're going to be doing the food at the very end this time. So that allows for some continuity with regards to the subcommittees, which we'll be getting report outs to as well. So if you want to review the agenda, I'll also go over it. I did want to do a special shout out to Domino's. Once again, they were kind enough to provide food for this afternoon. The smaller boxes are actually gluten-free as well for those folks, and I think one of them is actually vegetarian gluten-free. So if you have that as an issue with allergies or whatever else, feel free. We do ask that you only eat in the back and not bring it to the front, but if you're hungry and we could go grab something, we'll leave the doors open for you so you can hear everything. So I did want to also thank Kiana for this relationship with Domino's. This is the 6th time that they've sponsored each year, and what a great partner for supporting Project Christian. So big thanks to that. Wanted to first start off by introducing any first-time visitors. So anybody that hasn't been here today, if you could please stand up, and there's a microphone that will come your way, because we're also recording the TV. Any first-timers that would like to introduce themselves?
I am Akbar Ahmadiyya, the Justice Development Coordinator at International Justice.
Up front here.
This is actually my second time, but there were no introductions last month. So my name is Mary Milius. This is Sarah Jackson Hayes. We're from Revive Church in Fairhaven. Celebrate Recovery.
Nice to have you both. Thank you.
I am Troy Pedoni, and I have recently reopened the Salvation Army Resource Center. In October, we reopened it, so we're down again in full service with food shelf and social services. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, food shelf, Tuesday and Thursday for social services. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Welcome. Any other newcomers that would like to introduce themselves? Going once, going twice. All right. So we've got some remarks from the mayor. You can step up. Welcome, Mayor.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So, first of all, thanks for being here on a rainy Thursday. It's not snow. Hopefully, this is not an indicator of what it is to be all summer. We don't have another summer rain, but that's okay. We'll take it now. I don't know if you've heard, but the PD Police Department has been doing second meetings. She could probably talk about that, so I won't spend time on it. The last one is tonight, which she could probably also talk about. I tend to, every time I give you an update, I try to keep you up to date on the homeless transition campus that we're working on. We actually had a meeting, it was myself, the Housing Trust, Bennington Rutland Opportunity Council, and Community Care Network last week to talk about another option that might be something we can bring on a little bit faster. It's in the feasibility stage, so kind of looking into what we can do and how we can use the space that already exists instead of the building. So hopefully that will move along pretty well. And in conjunction with that, I'm meeting actually with Adam and one of the people from AHS tomorrow to kind of go over what's going on in the state, what the sheltering situation is going to look like over the next few months. And that's something that we're thinking about in Rutland as well. Let me see, I want to make sure I get everything. Current legislation that is in Montpelier is looking at how we're going to prioritize the process of sheltering, right? So what that process looks like. So today, you know, the hotel situation is kind of a last resort. The legislation right now looks at making hotels more like shelters. So there's a lot of conversation. We're going to have to see how that turns out. We're talking from a Rutland standpoint, a Rutland perspective. You know, my concern over the hotels becoming the de facto shelter is that the resources aren't in the right place. You know, you have a family of 5 living in one room voice concern to our legislators, and they are well aware of that, and we have that conversation pretty much every other day at this point. And then the housing conditions in the hotels in general, and I don't mean to harp on this, is something that we're going to be taking a much, much deeper look at from a city standpoint. So my city health inspector and my building inspectors are going to start, we actually for the past year, every other week, been going around to all the hotels within the city and doing inspections to make sure the living conditions were in good shape. The owners were always, if they weren't in compliance, they always brought the hotels into compliance, and we're going to be starting that cycle again, especially with the general assistance program and the first weather conditions ending. That means that they'll actually be space to move people around if room conditions are bad. Hopefully there's space to move people to another room without a major repair. So we're going to be starting that process again here probably in about 2 weeks. Other than that, working really closely with the state and PD to kind of keep on top of things and make sure everything's going well. And if you guys need anything, our office is always open for phone calls, emails, or just coming to visit. Any questions? Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thanks to you, Mendes. And next up, we have Chief O'Connor's remarks.
So thanks, Adam. So what's keeping us busy, PD, as the mayor mentioned, over the last Friday, we had our first community sector meeting. And I think I mentioned a few months back that we would start to do these again. So throughout the city. And so for those who've attended our Rundstad meetings before, I think you know that the city is divided into typically 4 sectors. And each sector has sort of overall operational responsibility for sort of what's going on in that particular sector. And recently we reconfigured what those sectors are. As I said, if you've been to those Rundstad meetings, you're probably familiar with the former Sector 4. There wasn't a whole lot to report out on because not a lot was happening there in terms of three-peat locations, addresses that we've been to 3 times in a 2-week period. So we reconfigured those the city and our sectors. We sort of created 5 sectors, which again, northeast, southeast, northwest, southwest, and downtown. We broke out downtown. The shopping plaza tends to keep us really busy, and so we broke that out, created a separate sector, and that particular sector now falls under our community response team. Our downtown beat officer is assigned to downtown, and so in his chain of command, Sergeant Williams, who works under the command of Commander Prouty, has overall responsibility then, operation responsibility for downtown. Now, having said that, even though a particular sergeant has operation responsibility for a sector, every shift sergeant, though, still is tasked with making sure, we've got officers responding to calls no matter where they're occurring, regardless of what their particular sector is. So we started our community meetings last Friday, and when we first, and again, we tasked the sergeants with sort of organizing these things, and then left it up to them in terms of scheduling and all that. And then when we got the schedule, it said Friday at 6 o'clock. Whose idea was that? So I introduced it as the first and last Friday night sector meeting we would have. But I tell you, it was really well attended. So we were real pleased with the way that went. It was a real nice venue for it at 802 Nutrition, and we try to have, and we're having the meetings at a location within each respective sector. And so this worked out really well. And so it was well attended. Those who attended really were engaged, so we're really pleased with the way that went. So maybe we'll start doing them Friday night all the time. I don't know. We'll see. And then we had 2 on Monday night, one at the Comfort Inn for our southeast sector of the city. We had one at the Rec for our southwest. We had one 2 nights ago, Tuesday night, at Last Cup Cafe for the northwest sector, and tonight we'll have our last, which is for our downtown sector. So if you haven't been yet, feel free to come out. It's interesting because we get a lot of similar type questions no matter where we're holding these sector meetings, so it's sort of nice to see the community coming out, being engaged. So we're there. So please come out tonight. And the first night when we had our meeting, one of the questions at the end was, when will you do this again? So as I said, we were doing them annually, but it seems like there's an interest from the community to do them more frequently. I don't know that we can necessarily do them quarterly, but maybe every 6 months we can do them. So going forward, we'll probably do that. But in terms of what you see at these sector meetings, we talk about our crime stats, that we highlight over a 5-year period, kind of where we're at year to date, each of the previous 5 years, where we're at this year. And then we focus on sort of what's going on in that particular sector. What are their busy streets? What are the types of calls we're responding to in that sector? What are our crime stats for that particular sector? So it's, as I said, well attended. Everyone's been engaged. It's been great. And so tonight's our last one for this round anyway. So if you're available tonight, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock at the Hub Co-works on Merchants Row. So it's a real good venue for that. So hope to see you. So last meeting, we had a number of individuals from Castleton in the internship program came out, and the director talked about the number of individuals in the intern program who were coming out of school and had already been placed in jobs. And so, our community resource specialist, our CRS program, is a real good fit for some of those in the social work program. And we had an intern, he's not here today, but Taylor Cohen was our intern, and we had an opening as a CRS, and she applied, and Taylor will be starting with us as a CRS. She wanted to start before she graduated. We suggested she wait till she graduate, enjoy herself a little bit, but she'll be starting with us as soon as she graduates. So we're glad to have Taylor come aboard. And going forward, we think we'll have another position opened, so keep your eyes open for that. But the program's been real successful. And again, the idea is, and you'll see if you come to the sector meetings, you'll see some of the stats. Typically 25% of the calls that we're responding to are not criminal in nature. Some of the sectors, some of the numbers I saw recently were 28 to 34%, so a good number of our calls are not criminal in nature. So do we need a police officer to respond to those calls? And the answer is no, we don't always. So we created that position. And I can tell you, and the idea is that, look, a CRS potentially has the time a lot more time to spend with someone to really bring some stability to the address that we're responding to, leverage resources within the community, spend the time to do that, and really, as I said, produce better outcomes. And we had a real success story recently where we had in our southeast, well, I guess, let's see, where is it? We reconfigured, I guess it's southeast, yeah, it's still southeast. But an elderly person who had some family members who had some associates who were problematic for us, and they were spending a lot of time at the house. And so our entire community response team spent a lot of time with the family, with the woman whose home it was and is, and leveraged some resources, got other agencies involved, and really did an amazing job bringing some stability to the household. And that's the idea with this whole program. So we're pleased the way that's gone. The entire department is aware of the situation, so the community response teams engage really the whole department, communicate with the entire department, kind of what we're doing, what the role of the entire community response team has been, as I said, to bring some stability to this household. So again, that's the idea behind a community resource specialist program, and so we're pleased the way that's gone. We've expanded it. Our first CRS was Matt Prouty coming out of retirement. And then when Matt transitioned back to a sworn position as a commander, we expanded upon that, and we've got 3 positions now. And so, again, hopefully it'll continue to grow. And as I said, it's been a real help for the police officers who formerly would respond to all of those calls. And unfortunately, sometimes rushed out of those calls because something else was going on. So again, with their CRSs, they really had the time to spend and bring some stability to the household. So again, thanks for everyone who's been involved in that process. Going forward, we've got coming up in August, I want to remind everyone, is National Night Out. That's on August 6th. That'll be at the park at Meadow Street. And so for all of our partners here who want to have a table, an information table, there's reach out to Colleen Shattuck or talk to Officer Rosario. I think you might have you have some flyers today? Okay, some flyers here. So feel free to grab those from him, and hope to see you besides here. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chief. And next, we have Vision Center update with Commander Prouty.
All right, good
afternoon, everyone. Not a lot to update from the Vision Center, but there's been a couple of things. The chief took my thunder a little bit on the sector meetings. Last one is tonight. Sergeant Williams is really excited about this one, so have a lot of questions show up. Think of really hard ones. I would appreciate it. The outreach care team is also affiliated with the Vision Center, and that team is made up of the City Police, the Rutland Free Clinic, the Turning Point Center, Community Care Networks, Welcome Home, and Street Outreach Program. And if you didn't know, we pile into this unbelievably gorgeous vehicle, this 2000 Ford E450 or something like that. It says police, city police on one side, sheriff's on the other. If you haven't seen it, it's a remarkable vehicle. But we've been doing just a stroke of business with that thing, and it was just this last Wednesday, well, yesterday, we were down on Strongs Avenue at Companions, and I think we had 9 new folks that we interacted with. Just really cool. So we were able to provide some service there, but keep that team in your mind when you're looking. If you have a client that's out there that's struggling, like, hey, listen, there's a group. You can see this big, really cool vehicle. Wave them down, and we can try to help. So inside the Vision Center, we've added Vermont and Adult Teen Challenge to one of the cubicles. Sean and Mark, I believe, are here. Welcome to the team. And what else? So the chief took my thunder on hiring Taylor. Thanks a lot, boss. And the last part, I have to say this one is going to be tough for us. ACO Tim Jones. What can Brown do for you? Trademark, I know somebody, sorry about that, Peg TV. But so he's the one guy in the department that wears brown. And we ask him to do all kinds of stuff. So he says that. But anyway, he's going to be retiring. Gonna miss him. He's the nicest guy, has the best dad jokes. Emilio's lost without him. But I do anticipate there being a big fight in the PD for whoever's gonna take his spot, because he does have that cool animal control van that I know they all wanna drive. So we call it the Critter Getter. So that's the update from the Vision Center. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. We also wanted to allot some time for announcements from any of the agencies that may have something going on locally that they'd like to highlight. And I will ask that you wait for the mic. Hands up. Thank you.
I just wanted to announce that Rutland County Parent-Child Center has their first annual Running for Prevention 5K. It takes place April 27th during Prevent Child Abuse Month. We're partnering with Rutland Rec, Prevent Child Abuse, Partners for Prevention, Come Alive Outside, the police department, the fire department, everybody. So kids under 12 run free. Adults are $30 for registration. It's pre-registration only. And after the event, we have a lot of cool stuff happening: fire trucks, food trucks, bounce houses. So please encourage folks to come out and join us for our first annual fundraiser. And I have a lot of flyers. So if anyone wants to take a flyer, please do.
Thank you. Over here on the left, my left.
Hi, everyone. The Center for Social Justice and Trauma Responsive Care is hosting an event for Sexual Assault Awareness Month on Castleton's campus. We will, I think they're already posted. I think they were posted yesterday. We have portraits that Brooklyn-based artist Tracy Malloy has done of survivors on campus of sexual assault, relationship violence, and the like. So there are posters, partial posters, to maintain the anonymity, but also so that you can see yourself in that portrait. And the stories that are shared by the survivors themselves. It's a very powerful representation of what issues like sexual violence or harassment mean to the survivors. And we will have a follow-up panel presentation on April 16th, which is Tuesday at 12:30 in the Fine Arts Center. It is open and free to the public, so please feel free to join us. And I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Thanks, Linda. And to the back, we got a couple.
I'm jumping on this one, so I'll let Heather do the Partners for Prevention piece. But I'm representing Come Alive Outside, and their goal to get people outside and moving. And the Mile a Day Mud Fling Challenge, 30 miles in 30 days, is starting April 15th. So I've put some of the passports out there. You can go to comealiveoutside.org or .com and get a one booklet here for your phone, a passport for your phone. But it's a great way to get outside and just have fun. So.
Thanks, Sarah.
Hi, everyone. So I'm from Rutland Dismiss House, and we've got our 32nd annual dinner and auction fundraiser coming up on Saturday, May 25th. I think invitations have gone out. I think we've sent it through the listserv. Flyers are posted downtown, but if you would like to go and are you interested, just come talk to me and I can give you some information on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard, wouldn't be an announcement without you.
I'm just going to make this announcement on behalf of the Continuum of Care COC meeting next Thursday. Normally is at the Bloomer Building downtown, 12 o'clock on the second floor. It's facilitated by the Homeless Prevention Center. I know there's always a special invite to the mayor and the chief and the commander. So if you guys are available to maybe give us an update on what's going on, Angus Cheney would be probably willing to give you a few minutes of time as well. So next Thursday, 18th, 12 o'clock.
Thanks, Richard. Anybody else announcements before we move on? Great. Thanks, everyone. I appreciate that. So next up, we have Maggie O'Brien from the Rutland Regional Planning Commission. She's going to give a short presentation. Do we have one more? We're getting flagged? No, we're good. Okay. Let's see, Tim. Maggie?
I'm short, so we gotta. There we go. Okay, so for some of you who were here last time, you might remember how my friend Kiana lovingly dragged me up to the podium when I had nothing prepared and I had to do something on the fly. But this time I actually have something prepared for our regional plan update. So gonna give it a shot here. Next slide, please, Adam. So to give you a more in-depth overview of what the regional plan actually is, so every 8 years, every RPC or Regional Planning Commission has a regional plan that they must update, similar to the towns themselves. They also have a municipal plan that gets updated every 8 years. And we are wrapping up the engagement phase of our development, at least the first round of engagement. And we've been doing that for several months now, but we're finally wrapping up on the first round. And so a regional plan is our collective vision for the future of the region. Specifically, we are hoping to have a collaborative guide that helps shape a healthy, equitable, and resilient region. So a plan, as you can imagine, guides where homes and businesses go, protects our natural resources, and ensures that the region remains a wonderful place to live, work, and play. Next, please. So the reason why I'm here today, in addition to the engagement that I've alluded to, so one of our goals in our engagement is to really make sure we focus on that equity piece. And to do that, every one of the chapter authors, including myself, are going out to groups in the community and asking them to connect us with what we call priority populations. So that would be those who are elderly, the youth, economically disadvantaged, BIPOC, queer, and so forth. And the reason why we want to connect with these folks is because they're not traditionally represented in planning or in the public process in general, so making sure we give them that special extra attention. But also, we want to learn more about their present and future challenges, assets, and needs. So we would like to also understand their involvement with organizations like yourselves out there. So, next slide. So On the screen, I have some example of guiding questions. We don't have to answer these questions today, but just to give you an idea of what kind of questions we would be asking these populations. So like I mentioned, what challenges do they face in day-to-day life? What assets are available to help them? What needs are not being fulfilled? And what strategies or plans of action exist to address those needs? That last one would probably be more for the organizations themselves, but yeah, you get the idea. Next slide. So my request to you today ultimately is guided by the question of how do we best connect and engage directly with the populations that you all serve. So I am up on the podium now to ask if there's any organizations in the crowd who would potentially be interested in attending a planning meeting for our engagement effort for our round 2 engagement, which would be in the fall of this year. And I'd love to hear from anyone, anyone who works with the homeless, people who struggle with addiction, pretty much all the groups that Project Vision represents. So, awesome. Okay. Wow, awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Best way to contact me would be my email. So that's MAGGIE at rutlandrpc.org. No, that's okay. MAGGIE at rutlandrpc.org. And while I'm up here, I'll put in a plug for our last community house that we have for next week. It is April 17th at the Opera House from 5 to 8. We're going to have a table with some information about a regional plan update, asking people to give us their input about what they love about the region or what they want to change. There's these dot surveys that people love to do where they stick dots on what they think we should prioritize on as a region. And just some general swag and goodies. So if that's something you have time for, if you didn't get a chance to participate in that survey that I mentioned last month, we'd be happy to see you. 5 to 8. The date is next Wednesday, which I believe is the 17th. And it's at the, not the Opera House, it's at the Paramount Theater. I think I said Opera House the first time. Mm-hmm. And like everyone else, I have some flyers if you want to, if you want that information on paper. So, and also the folks who just indicated they were interested in working with me, please come meet me at some point before the end of the meeting, so that way I can get to know you a little more and we can get that face-to-face time in, because that's always important. So, yeah, that's all I have.
So some of the committees, this is interesting. So some of the committee leads had also asked to be able to present today to give you all an overview of kind of what's happening within the 5 committees, because oftentimes when we get together, there's the opportunity for us to meet individually within the committees, but not really getting a lot of carryover understanding of what's happening within each committee. So I would ask a representative from the committees to come up and give a brief overview of a report out for each committee, and I will start with community policing. Thanks, Pat.
When we talk about stealing someone's thunder, two gentlemen did a good job on community policing. But we've been involved over time with talking about the community resource specialist and that evolving group and the evolving responsibilities and things they've been involved with. So that's been a fascinating process for us. And then their involvement with the outreach care team has just been an amazing project to see unfold, and we've been discussing that. And we've been talking now about the sector meetings. We've been attending the sector meetings, and we look forward to taking what we're hearing and making that a part of our ongoing discussions, what's needed in the community. And I know when we've had a meeting here and people joined our community policing discussion group here, it was very helpful because ideas, thoughts that hadn't come up in our meeting came up, and we were able to share them and discuss them. So I hope when we do break up that you join our group and share some of your thoughts. So thank you.
And next, Health Committee. If you could come up and...
Hi everyone, Jamie Bentley, Community Impact Coordinator with Rutland Regional Medical Center, and I co-chair the Project Vision Health Committee meeting. So just a few updates for you all. We have a new co-chair, that is Jane Borhill. Jane, please wave, say hello. Monica is no longer with us. She isn't able to fill in that role, so thankfully Jane was able to step in and help support the Health Committee. But just a few things that are going on within that group. We have been having lots of conversations about how we can connect our healthcare community with each other. We realize since COVID that, you've probably all heard me say this a million times, we've siloed ourselves a lot since COVID, and having those connections with each other are very important in order to provide the best care for the people that we serve. So we spend a lot of our time talking about how can we create those connections. Matt came to our last meeting and brought up some really fantastic information about how we could support our care and case managers that are out there doing a lot of important work, and how we need to really help them connect with each other and connect with agencies to really serve individuals the best way possible. So agency connections, collaboration, we're connecting with the new training and education committee through Project Vision, really trying to make sure that any training and education opportunities for service providers and individuals and people within our community are able to access and have what they need available to better serve our populations. Questions? Anything to add, folks from Health Committee? Awesome. Okay.
Thanks, Jamie. Next up, we have the Youth Committee.
Thank you. My name is Heather Brouillard. I'm the Regional Prevention Partnership Coordinator with Partners for Prevention at Rutland Regional Medical Center. I am the current only co-chair of the Rutland Youth Coalition, which is serving as the Youth Subcommittee for Project Vision. So we are in search of a new co-chair. So if you know of anybody who might fill this role, or if your organization wants to be more involved, please come find me. So we started our school year off with 2 initiatives. The first one being the creation of a teen center for Rutland City and Rutland County. The second being the creation of a youth council. So there's a place for youth to come together and really emphasize their voice and have their voice heard. I'm really happy to announce that throughout this school year, we've made great progress on both of these. So the Rutland Teen Center is pending opening within the month. We have a space that will be located right next to the Boys and Girls Club. It's a great large space, and we just found out about 2 weeks ago that through Vermont After School, they are providing the funding for everything we need for the Teen Center, from beanbags to couches, televisions, computers, literally everything that the kids have asked for throughout the year. So we're so excited about that. So hopefully very soon we will have an announcement about a grand opening, and the public is all very welcome. We would love everyone to celebrate with us. Along with the Teen Center, we envision this space as being really a hub for information for all of our youth in the area. We had some great interns last summer that went out and really talked to kids where they were at, and a lot of what we heard is that teenagers know that there are resources out there, but aside from going to a school nurse, they don't really know where to access them. So we would love this space to become that hub for anything that kids really need in our area. So we are at the phase now where we're looking for organizations to step up and to help us put these resources together. If your organization wants to be involved, or if you foresee maybe spending 1 hour a week in this space, just so the teens know if they're looking for resources for college prep, it's this hour a week that we have a resource available. So that's what we're talking about right now in our meetings. Our youth coalition meetings are the first Tuesday of every month at 9 a.m. virtually. If you're not a part of the listserv and you'd like to receive that information or you'd like to attend the meetings, please come find me. We would love to have anybody and everybody. We're also really excited to announce that for the Youth Council initiative that we started, the group started meeting this past Wednesday. So every Wednesday evening from 6 to 7, in that teen space, we have groups of teens coming together to really talk about what they want to see from this teen center and from their community. So it was a small gathering for the first time out, but this will continue every week. So have some wonderful flyers here. If you are in contact with young people, please pick some up or email me and we can get the information out to you. So thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Heather. So next we have the Training Education Committee.
I'm a little shorter than everybody else here. All right. So my name is Eric Pulver. I'm the Emergency Preparedness Specialist for the Department of Health, and I co-chair the Education and Training, or Training and Education, we aren't sure 100% yet, with Linda Olson, a professor at VSU Castleton. And we just had our inaugural meeting on Friday. It was an intimate gathering, let's just say. And, but the really positive that came out of that, which was two of the largest probably training entities that we have in Rutland County got to talk to each other with Castleton and the hospital. And they were able to kind of collaborate and sort of communicate what different trainings they do and where areas that they can kind of overlap and be able to work together. And so we are going to basically start looking into a couple different areas, most notably, how are we going to basically set up a system to collect all of the trainings and educations that all of you are doing, so that way we can find those areas to collaborate. We can find those areas, that, if you want to do a certain training, you don't have to find the experts. We will have the experts, in a long list, so you'll be able to pick and choose that. And then also we had a discussion on how are we going to sort of create a framework to evaluate the trainings that we do in Rutland County. So that way we can kind of have an idea of, are these trainings effective, how are they effective, and what's the best way to continue doing them. So that was primarily the meeting we had. So we're going to have meetings every month for the foreseeable future. And Linda, are they a third Friday? Second Friday? Yeah. Third Friday at 3 p.m.? No, 1 p.m. 1 p.m. Yeah, I totally blanked on that. Yeah, we'll figure it out. We're babies here, okay? We're not policing or we're not health, okay? They got their stuff together.
Eric, have the meeting at 6 p.m. You'll have like 30 people.
On a Friday, yeah. We'll take over those sector meetings for you, Proudy. The only other thing I did want to mention is that with Adam and Kiana, I am facilitating all of the co-chairs of all of the committees having a meeting. So we had that meeting a couple of weeks ago for the first time, and we had a lot of great discussion and collaboration and things that came out of that, where we can start working together as chairs and sort of push forward initiatives that all of us can kind of work together on. We already know that volunteering and training and education committee is going to have a lot of areas to support health and with, I want to say public safety, but I know it's not public safety. It's, is it? Community policing. There we go. I always forget that one. You know, to be able to support that with volunteer committee and the youth committee and everything. So we're going to continue with that. And so we do have another meeting coming up next Friday, actually. All of the co-chairs did indicate that they would like to kind of have these meetings quarterly together, and they would like to have them at different agencies or different nonprofits within the county. So as I'm facilitating and set this up and to make it this experiment easy on me, our first one's going to be at the Department of Health, and our district director, Renee Bousquet, will be there to kind of discuss what we are doing and what initiatives that the Department of Health is doing in Rutland. And then after that, I will probably be coming to talk to you all about future quarterly chair meetings at your nonprofit or service agency, and have a representative from your agency there to discuss with the co-chairs, on what you all do and how we can support that and work together. So, thank you.
And is Chris here today? I don't see Chris here today. So I think we're going to table the volunteer committee overview, but that's fairly self-explanatory. What we'll also be able to do is get the times, dates out for folks for the monthly meetings. We'll make sure that that's on the listserv and the website as well, so you'll have a point of reference for that. Thanks again, everybody that was able to support that. And we've got about 20 minutes to meet in subcommittees. So now that you've got a general, better understanding of what the committees look like, we'll split. I think we're going to probably get back at about 10 after, so that'll give us time to still have lunch and do some networking. So at this time, I'm going to ask the committees to convene, and we're going to have community policing closest to me on the left. I'm going to go ahead and have health in the back over there. Youth, you get closest to the pizza. You're welcome. And I'm sorry, training and education, if we could be over to the right in the back corner, that'd be great. And we'll see you all at about 10 after.